Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great weekend out there so far. Here to bring you the latest on a few things in this morning's video. The first thing we'll discuss is a time frame I'm watching for the potential for a pattern change. You know, the central, really the eastern U.S., not really the central. The eastern U.S. has been not quiet, but there hasn't been any, I would say, major storm systems outside the tropics for the southeast, of course. There hasn't been any early season snowfall, really abnormally cold air. It's just been, for the most part, a pretty quiet start to the cool season. I think that could change as we start to get into the second half of November. So we are going to break the rules that we set on this channel, which, you know, I say let's not speak past day 10, 240 hours out. We are going to speak past that. And we're going to break that rule occasionally, especially when my confidence is somewhat there for the potential for a pattern change. So we're going to speak on this, break it down. If you're a snow fan, if you're a cooler weather fan, this might excite you, but just remember, this stuff that I'm showing you is not a forecast, but it is a potential for something to change up in the eastern U.S. as we move in time. So we'll speak on that, we'll break it down, spend a lot of time on it, and then we'll give you an update on the tropics, and then we'll break down what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire lower 48 for your Sunday. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. And I just want to thank you folks to continue to view in these slower times. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the views have really tanked. It's gotten slow. And this is not me complaining or down and about it. Trust me, it's just what comes with doing this. And typically in October and November, it can get very slow. You know, people start to, there's just other things going on. It's the holidays. You know, technically people still wouldn't consider this Christmas time. I know a lot of people have already put their Christmas stuff up, but you get what I'm saying. You know, it's just gotten into a quiet period on the channel. But just thank you for the people who continue to tune in during these slow times. It really shows me where the core of the channel is at, and I really appreciate you folks continuing to make this a daily routine, regardless if it's active weather-wise in your neck of the woods or not. So with that being said, let's get rocking and rolling. So what you're seeing here, and this is going to throw some people off, okay, but I'm going to try to explain it the best way I can. The warmer colors on your screen, like these red shades of orange, a salmon color, this is ridging, high pressure, okay? The blue blobs you see come up on your screen occasionally, this is low pressure, a trough, an upper level low. It's just lower pressure. Lower pressure, the blue you see come up on your screen, typically associated with unsettled weather. And the ridging is normally, you know, the warmer colors on your screen, typically sinking air, drier conditions. Now, that's not always the case. For example, this morning, we got a lot of rain shooting across this area of the country, but you would think, well, why is that happening when we have the ridge in place? Well, like I said, this is kind of in the upper levels of the atmosphere, okay? So let's just not get too deep into that, and let's keep going here. So this is this morning. You see this blue blob? This is what dumped all that snow across New Mexico, Colorado, and portions of surrounding states. This is since ejected across the middle of the country. This is, you can call it an upper level low. I mean, I would say it's a cutoff low because it is embedded into this ridging surrounding it. You see all the warmer colors right here surrounding this. This is slowly moving across the middle of the country and bringing unsettled weather. And the flow around this is actually yanking in moisture from the south. So we actually got a surge of moisture coming up because of the flow around this. Okay, and then with the immediate actual upper level low or cutoff low itself is bringing unsettled weather too. So this little system right here is actually helping into aiding bringing in some rain for like New England. In fact, we will break our dry streak, I think, over the next 24 hours in a lot of areas along the I-95 corridor because of this system. So I just want to explain what's going on right now, because that's going to lead me to explaining what potentially happens for the future. So this is this morning. Let's keep this rolling here. A little piece of energy shoots down from Canada, kind of connects with this leftover upper level low. This will kind of evolve into a full-fledged trough, and we'll have a cold front associated with it. So this will bring a pretty chilly work week for the Northeast. Okay, and we will feel the effects of this all the way down to the southeast. So we will have more seasonal weather because of this consistent troughing over the Northeast across the southeast. And this will bring kind of a more seasonal week as far as what it's supposed to feel like for the second week in November. At the same time, we have a tall ridge building back in over the middle of the country, another dip in the jet right here with this trough in place. Tall ridge building all the way up into Canada, and we still have this dip in the jet right here. So we got a moving pattern right now. Things are kind of just flowing. All right, so this ridge anchors over the eastern U.S. again. Now, it'll take a while for the warmer than average temperatures to probably work to the surface, but this will probably bring maybe a warm up, maybe brief warm up for the end of this week. You see the red colors. This is called this red and blue, even though, this isn't exactly red. You get what I'm saying. You start to see the red colors. Ridging moves over the eastern U.S., okay? But watch what happens. A little trough tries to develop right here. It kind of connects, a little bit of blocking up in Greenland. And I know this doesn't look like much, but this little white indented area right here, that is a weak upper system. It's upper energy, and this is getting into Thursday morning. We still got the ridging over the middle of the country. This is probably still starting to pump out some warmer than average temperatures once again across the south central U.S. You want to watch this area in blue that shows up right there. To me, that tells me we're going to try to get some sort of storm system in the eastern U.S. later this work week, Thursday into Friday. Okay, and then what happens after that? That is what has my attention. Okay, we consistently get this trough off the coast of the eastern U.S. This could bring cooler temperatures for the weekend. Okay, something to watch. Could keep storminess and just unsettled weather over Atlantic Canada, the Northeast. Eventually, that gets pushed on out of here. And as we get into next weekend, it'll take a while to work to the surface, just like the one a few days prior. But another ridge moves over the eastern U.S. Okay, how long? So you can see this is a moving pattern. Okay, trough right there early this week. Ridge moves in later this week. Another trough shows up over the eastern U.S. Consistent troughing out west. Trough, unsettled weather. A trough, when I say trough, I mean blue. When I say ridge, orange and red. Okay, so here comes the ridge building over the eastern U.S. at this point. Could bring some warmer than average temperatures. And then how long does this ridge stick around? Now, we're getting pretty far out, 222 hours out. Not this Tuesday morning, but next Tuesday morning, the 19th. You see this feature right here? Okay, and this is the GEFS, by the way. Okay, this is the ensembles. It's not just one operational run. Watch what happens here. This is what perks my interest. Big trough, area of low pressure, blue, unsettled weather, typically brings cooler than average temperatures too. About 10 days from now, as we're getting into the morning of the 20th, I know that's far out, sets up this big looking trough right over the eastern U.S. We got ridging out west, dip in the jet stream, trough into east, low pressure, unsettled weather. To me, this would most likely bring unsettled weather and then cooler weather, maybe cold weather into the eastern U.S. And yes, I do mean the Great Lakes region too. This to me screams, as we're getting, I know past the 10-day mark, something unsettled in the eastern U.S. It hangs around all the way into that weekend, and then we get pretty far out and things just get kind of fuzzy then. Okay, I know I spent a lot of time on that. I know that confuses people, but just think the blue, unsettled weather, cooler than average temperatures. Yeah, okay. And then the red, ridging, normally above average temperatures, and for the most part, calmer weather. Okay, but what about the EPS? Okay, the Euro Ensemble, one of the best things you can look at in the long range out there. Okay, same thing. The evolution of the storm system later this work week, we're getting a Thursday and a Friday, is a little different. Okay, has this area of energy that develops. You get some sort of storm system off the eastern U.S. You just want to watch this time frame here. Some energy will slip through this ridging. You see this little weird teardrop looking white area? That is upper energy that connects to this trough off the coast of the eastern U.S. And this could bring some unsettled weather. And then as we get into next weekend, the ridge tries to build in into the 18th, into the 19th, and you see this ridge, but here's that blue showing up. This is the feature I'm watching, folks. And that trough is there, and then it tries to amplify and get going as we get into the eastern U.S. The timing is a little bit different, but just like the GEFS, okay, the GFS ensemble, The Euro ensemble shows the same thing. And this is just something I want to watch. I think we'll get maybe a blast of our coldest air of the season in this time frame. And I think we'll get some snow, November snow out of this. If this continues to show up, and it has been. Okay? Now, you're thinking, Mitch, I didn't understand any of that. Just show me where it's going to snow and rain. I know how people think, and I know a lot of people are thinking that. So this little time frame is for you. Time stamp is for you. What does that mean as far as the surface? Rain, snow, what the heck does that mean? Well, as we're moving here in time, this is in the short term, today into tomorrow. Look at this moisture moving over the eastern U.S. We'll talk more on this when we get to this Sunday timestamp of the video breaking down today's weather. Look at all the widespread light to moderate rain across the eastern U.S. Much needed. Okay, and then we'll get a shot of cold air for the northeast. Getting into Monday into Tuesday, this could bring some interior New England snow, and we continue to keep this moving. All right, this is getting into this coming Wednesday. And we got some moisture. Look at a little pink showing up. A little bit of cool air enough. Was that Allegheny Mountains? I think that's how you pronounce it. But here comes a system. This isn't bringing a whole lot of cold air with it, but this is the system that could crank up off the eastern U.S. This is something to watch. That's that upper energy I was talking about at the end of this work week into this weekend. Okay? Like, for example, if you compare what you're seeing here with the upper pattern as far as heights and trough here. Okay? Let's back this up. What does this look like on this screen? Okay? Let's make sure we're in the right area. You see that little thing right here? It just looks like a blob of white embedded around orange and red right here. Okay, that's Thursday morning, right? That's what this looks like. You see how it's kind of some energy right here? You look at that, you compare it with this, that's energy. That's upper energy. Okay, just trying to make it make sense for you guys because I know it can be confusing. It's confusing me explaining it sometimes. Sometimes I'll jumble up my words and I'll confuse myself. So it's always a learning experience with these videos. But that energy will move off the coast of the eastern U.S. If we continue to have this trough in place in the northeast, I think that we can continue just to have moisture all weekend this coming weekend in the northeast. Just some cooler air pivoting around, maybe some snow flurries flying around. I think there could be a cold weekend in the northeast this coming weekend. And I think that some of that cold air could filter down to the northeast. The southeast. We'll see what happens after that. Then we start to get about a week out, okay? Fuzzy time frame, a little bit, I would say a lot more unreliable. Here comes another system kind of taking that same route as the one a few days prior. Not a lot of cold air with this one either, but there's starting to become more shots of cold air coming down. And then this looks like just a big old rainstorm for the northeast, maybe early next week, okay? It could get cranking. Cold air tries to catch up with it. Okay. It's just something to watch. It's a time frame to watch in the 7 to 10 day range for. I just think the Northeast is going to have a lot of energy over the next next several days, maybe for the foreseeable future. And then what I'm watching is a big trough, and you can see it. You see this blue line? That's the 540 line, the upper levels of the atmosphere, the freezing line and the upper levels of the atmosphere. Okay. It's not a freezing line at the surface, upper levels. Just leave it at that for now. Okay, as this trough is digging down, a piece of energy ejects across the middle of the country. Models keep showing this, but this is still in the day 9 to 10 range. This wants to bring a big storm system along with a big shot of cold air into the Great Lakes region. This is, like I said, around the day 10 region, November 19th to the 21st. Unreliable time frame, but models keep showing something here. A lot of cold air undercutting this. Your typical northwest flow looking kind of event, if that makes sense. And then cold air comes down, the coldest of the season, blast in after day 10, cranks up a big time lake effect snow event across the Great Lakes region. And we have our first significant lake effect snow event of the season. We have our first significant storm system as far as cold air filtering behind it. And this is a time frame, like I said, 20th, 22nd, 21st, 19th. I know I'm jumbling up my numbers there, but you get what I'm saying. That time frame you're going to watch. This would bring a big time lake effect snow event for the Great Lakes, and then the northwest flow setup would be there. This is just one model run, okay? And then we move in, and of course you're going to get cold air that filters in behind this, and then we have to watch after that too. So just some stuff to watch, and then we get way far out. No point in looking at any of this. But The Euro AI model, which is something I'm watching too, it does not show winter weather. It just shows precipitation, which could be winter weather. So same thing, we got a big system, not a big system, but a system that flies into the northeast early to midway this work week, and then we keep going. Here comes another system later this week. It's a little bit further south than it is on the GFS. Okay, upper energy gets kind of pushed a little bit further south. And then we start to get into about a week out. Here's a little storm system moving in. Could bring a little bit of snow for the upper Midwest. And then things get a little bit funky after that. We get 9 to 10 days out. Here comes a lot of moisture coming out the Gulf. Shot of cold air coming down. Could there be a connection here? If we could see snow, if we could see the winter weather on this output, this would be lake effect snow. Geez, I can't talk, for the 19th, 20th, and the 21st. Once again, just like for what the GFS shows for the Great Lakes region, and then this would be snow for portions of the Northeast too, and a big shot of cold air in that same time frame that I keep talking about after the 20th, past day 10. So this is certainly a time frame I am watching, folks. And if we're looking at as far as snow, this is the Euro ensemble. This is in 48-hour periods. So keep that in mind. And we keep this going. We get into Wednesday. If you're wondering what time frame we're at, and I forget to mention it, this is getting into the evening of the 13th. We're getting into the 14th, 15th. All we're seeing is snow out in the Rockies, Cascades. But then you start to see some snow creep into the Front Range area. And then check out how you see a little bit of a signal for snow across the upper portion of the country. And then look at the signal for snow, past day 10 across the Great Lakes region. And then look at it showing, and let's just go on and look at the eastern U.S. I knew it was going to do that. Here it is. You can see it across the Great Lakes region. All right, that's, to me, a solid signal for lake effect snow. And then you can even see a signal down here, okay, for northwest flow snow, okay? And we keep this going. There's a signal for snow in the northeast. It's hard for me to say signal, so I need to stop saying it because it's so far out. But you get what I'm saying. You look at the time frame. This is the evening of the 22nd. There's something showing up here as far as a look for snow, okay? And if you look at the GEFS, let's just go in 7-day periods. And let's look at the eastern U.S. here. Okay, moving forward here in time, and then watch. Look, see right here, we're in the morning of the 18th. Watch as we start to move past this time frame. Okay, we start to see how everything starts crashing down. A little bit of a signal there for snow to finally start showing up for areas that typically start to see chances of it this time of the year. Okay, so it's just stuff to watch at this point. I just think we're going to start to get some crazy model runs in this time frame. So if I'm really speaking on a time frame, it's really, I would say, after the 19th and the 20th. And I know we're still at the 10th right now, but if you're looking at temperatures, right, what does this look like as far as that? Let's look at the GFS ensemble. All right, there's that shot of cool air. I think it's just going to be a chilly week across the Northeast. Below average temperatures. It might moderate a little bit. And then we start to get into Friday, and above average temperatures begin to dominate the middle of the country again as that ridging settles in. It's consistent troughing out in the west, so you got cooler temperatures. Okay, and then you start to get, this is in the next weekend, well above average temperatures. We could break record highs across the middle of the country. Not as warm across the eastern U.S. because we do have that trough maybe sitting off the coast of the eastern U.S., kind of pumping in some cooler air. And then above average temperatures could settle in for a period in the eastern U.S. and the central U.S. As we're getting into the 19th to the 20th. And then what I want you to check out here is look at these below average temperatures showing up now for the south central U.S., creeping into the Midwest. And then we start to get closer to after that 20th to 21st time frame. And look at these below average temperatures showing up for the southeast and the eastern U.S. And they hang around for most of that weekend. So that's something we just need to continue to keep our eyes on, guys. I think it's a very interesting time frame. Do I think that means snow for the South? Absolutely not. But I think that could be an active time frame. Now, the Climate Prediction Center really isn't buying this time frame yet. I think they can make adjustments, but this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, I think this is definitely going to happen the 15th to the 19th, well above average temperatures over the middle of the country. Okay, but then you look at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, the 17th through the 23rd, they're going for above average temperatures in this time frame, but I really think this is going to tweak. But I could be wrong. Listen, I could have just talked for 20 minutes about the pattern change and it might not unfold. It just happens. But certainly, watching this time frame, I really think, I know I've said it about 15 times in the video so far, the 19th to the 20th, 21st, 22nd. Watch that time frame right there. Maybe a little bit onward, something to watch. So let's speak on the tropics, okay? This is what's left over of Tropical Storm Rafael, completely falling apart now. And then we got some unsettled weather out here in the Eastern Caribbean and even north of Puerto Rico, etc. here. We got to watch to see if this is going to get going. In fact, this has been dubbed an invest, this area right here. I think it's 98L. And yeah, let me see. Yeah, 98L. Could this develop into something? Says there's a 10% chance of it. But Rafael right here, 40 mile per hour tropical storm. And as of now, we do not have an area of interest still in the Caribbean. Okay. And that is the area we are watching. I want you to keep your eyes down here. We're going to start this off for Thursday evening this coming work week. The GFS still wants to develop a tropical storm down here. I mean, we get all the way into about, we're about eight days from now. Finally develops a tropical storm and it moves it into like Belize or just somewhere in Central America, the Yucatan Peninsula, in the 7 to 10 day range. But it looks like it's starting to back up the time frame a little bit. But the GFS does develop a broad area low pressure down here. Okay, so we're still going to watch it. I'm still watching it. Even though I'm kind of over talking about the tropics, we still need to pay attention to it for our friends down here in the Caribbean. And then, we look at the Euro. What is it showing? It does show a broad area low pressure this weekend, kind of just floating around the Caribbean. And it eventually does push it into Central America. And it could bring a lot of heavy rain and flooding rains to Central America. Once again, that 7 to 10 day time frame. So we're continuing to watch it. The GEFS ensemble still has a pretty hefty signal down here as we're getting into this weekend. As you can tell, the colors are starting to brighten up. This tells us that there's probably a solid signal for a low pressure developing down here. And some of these get quite strong. Okay, the ones that really get going and get kind of pushed north, could be dangerous. That's why we need to continue just to watch out for this time frame. 7 to 10 day range, something could get going down here in the Caribbean, which is crazy because it's mid-November. Now, speaking on what's happening weather-wise today, a lot of rain. There's that upper low. It's right here. You can see the spin for the moisture in Minnesota and Iowa. That's the actual upper low. It's yanking up a lot of moisture out the south. Moist feed. We're getting some showers and even some heavy rain across the deep south. There was a lot of rainy football games yesterday. I mean, you're waking up to a washout across most of Ohio. A lot of heavy rain riding that Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio line. Much needed rain moving into West Virginia this morning. Hallelujah on that. And then we got some rain, coming for you folks in the I-95 corridor. I think there's areas in New Jersey that has not seen rain in over 40 days. Yeah, I think you break that today. The middle of the country has got quiet. We're going to get some epic snow melt over these areas of New Mexico, Wyoming. By the way, thank you for people who sent me pictures in that area. It's much appreciated. Continue to send me those pictures of stuff. I know I've got some emails of some people that I haven't been able to look at yet, but I'm going to get to it today, along with the comments. But as far as watches, warnings, and advisories, red flag warnings for southern New England. Hopefully we can get some rain that kind of gets you back to normal, at least put a dent in the drought. Some dense fog out here, flood watches in Louisiana, winter weather advisories in this purple color. Nothing very active out there right now. The excessive rainfall outlook, we still have a slight risk down here in Alexandria and just north of the I-10 corridor here. Just watch out in Louisiana today. You guys have already picked up a lot of rain. Then everybody else just has a marginal risk of flash flooding. Not a huge deal, but definitely watch out for any ponding and stuff like that. General risk of thunderstorms in this lightly shaded green area. Could get a rumble of thunder, some lightning. But overall, I wouldn't expect much in the way of any kind of severe weather. The southeast today, just moisture on the return here. And it's going to be kind of a rainy, soggy Sunday afternoon. We could start to get some moisture on the northern edge of Rafael into southeast Louisiana. In fact, you definitely will, in my opinion. We're going to get some showers and storms across Mississippi, and definitely a line of storms. It could get going in northern Alabama, central Tennessee, might get all the way to the Cumberland Plateau. And we'll just continue to get this moist feed across the Carolinas, Georgia. Florida, not as active, but we'll just get scattered and smothered. I hadn't said that in a while. By the way, I ate Waffle House last weekend, and man, I ain't had it in about a year. I had to eat that waffle in about 45 seconds. It was tasty. Anyways, I'm starting to get hungry. My eggs are calling my name. But the Carolinas here, up into Virginia. I mean, even Virginia, folks, much needed rain today. Look at this rain moving into Virginia. Not everybody will get a lot, but, Southeast Virginia getting some rain for sure. And we get into tomorrow morning. We kind of wake up to the same thing, kind of some soggy conditions. The Northeast, here it comes. Look at this big slug of moisture. Definitely a rainy afternoon in PA, areas of West Virginia, starting to move into New York. And then look at the light and moderate rain moving into New Jersey. You guys will start to get it around dinner time tonight. This is much needed. Some rain moving into southern New England. Look at the heavy rain down here in the Delmarva. Well, pockets of heavy rain, I would say. Maryland. And then it continues throughout most of the night. And I think by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, some calmer conditions. But it's not going to add up to a ton, guys. In fact, you look at the precipitation. I mean, New Jersey could get a quarter to a half an inch of rain. That is much needed. You don't need it all at one time anyways. But New York City, maybe a quarter inch of rain. You get towards Pittsburgh, you start to get the 3/4 of an inch. And just some nice rains today over the next 24 hours, I would say. It's raining like crazy in Ohio, maybe another inch or so. You go multi-day. We go through 1 through day 3. Looks about the same. Nothing significant after this, but like I said, if you watched the pattern change timestamp, I am watching onward. But the South Central U.S., the rain could continue for a period in Louisiana, but I do think it'll let up, except if you live in Southeast Louisiana. Watch for that. But the immediate South Central U.S., it's a pretty quiet day of weather today. The North Central U.S., pretty much the same. We're going to get this kind of pocket of showers and storms with this upper level low that moves through areas of South Central and the southern half of Wisconsin. It'll also move over Lake Michigan. We could get some thunderstorms in lower Michigan this evening. If you live in lower Michigan, do not let some thunderstorms catch you by surprise. I don't think this will be anything crazy, but as we get into later this evening, into the overnight hours, let's get quiet. Little system to the north. It could bring some rain showers down to the UP tomorrow morning. And then out west, big storm system begins to move back in to the Pacific Northwest later tonight, and we're going to wake up to just washout conditions across the Pacific Northwest. As you can see up here, you see all the rain moving in to the coastal range, the valley. And in fact, this is rainfall between now and the next 2 days. I mean, we could get 4 to 5 inches of precipitation. The valley areas, Portland up to Seattle, maybe a solid inch of rain, Eugene, kind of the same thing. So a lot of moisture moving into this area. We could get a lot of snow too. Temperatures, pocket of cooler air all the way down to the southeast, cooler day up in the northeast, warmer in the deep south, 70s. I mean, high humidity too for this time of the year. And then we look out west, it's certainly warming up in those areas that have snow on the ground. So that's all I got, guys. It's a mouthful. But you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again Monday morning. God bless.